Okay, let's do this. This is your last assignment for this current chapter. This is homework number 4. Let's see, calculate the following values. So you have y equals 2 plus 4.3x, and what's the value of y when x equals 6? Right. So basically what you need to do is you need to take this equation and find out what y is when x is -6. So when you put -6 in there. Okay, and use a calculator if you have to. I think I am going to use a calculator. So, okay. So I'm going to go ahead and do, if you use a calculator, like one of the ones that I have or the ones that I have available for you, you just type it directly like it is. So 2 plus 4.3 and then times it, or you can do parentheses -6. Okay, so if you either you do it on a calculator or you're going to have to do it by hand. Right, and we are well beyond that. So that's it. -23.8. So we will say this one, y equals -20. Well, let's do this. Right, so let's do 2 plus 4 times -6. So let's write it out like this, and then that's going to equal -23 point. I forgot 8. Okay, and that's your answer. Okay, next one. If g of x equals x minus 3 quantity squared, what's the value of g of -9? So this one says we're going to put -9 inside of g. Okay, so inside of g, we're going to put -9 in the x. So that means that you're going to put -9 right here. Okay, so we're going to copy that down. So we're going to copy this as g of -9 equals -9 minus 3 quantity squared. Right, you're going to work out. If you need a calculator, use it. This one, I don't really need a calculator. So you go -9 and then -3. If you don't know it, use a calculator. That's going to get you 9, 10, 11, 12. So it'd be -12 quantity squared. And you know, -12 times -12 is 144. Okay, yes, it's positive because it's negative times negative. Okay, this next one. You have c of x equals x minus 2. And it says, what's the value of c? Or what's the value of x, excuse me. What's the value of x when c of x equals 3.5? So they want you to put c of x as 3.5. Right, so basically they want c of x right here as 3.5. Okay, so let's write it over here. So this is going to be 3.5 equals x minus 2. And this is actually what we're doing in class right now. Right? How do you solve that? You're going to go ahead and add 2. Okay, and this is going to go ahead and cancel out. And we get a value of x equals, and then 3.5 plus 2 is 5.5. That's your answer. That's the value of x. Okay. If y equals 5x squared minus 4, what is the value of y when x is -2? So this one, again, back to tradition, they want you to use x as -2. So instead of x, they want you to put in -2. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and write it down below here. So it'll be y equals 5. And then instead of x, we're going to put -2. Square that and take away 4. So work it out. You're going to go ahead and square the -2 first. The 5 remains the same. So -2 squared, you should know is 4. Take away 4. And then next you have to do the parentheses. So 5 times 4 is 20. Then now you can finally subtract 4. So 20 minus 4 will give you 16. That is your answer right there. Okay, simplify each expression below. This is actually what we've been doing in class for the last couple of days and last week. All right, so first I'm going to rewrite this because I noticed there's a big old negative parentheses, which means everything in the parentheses is going to become opposite. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and copy everything down as is first. So we get 4x plus 7 plus 3y, and then now I'm going to go ahead, and since I've copied all that, I'm going to go ahead and utilize a negative. So it'd be minus a 1, right? So it's the opposite of 1, which is negative 1. It's the opposite, so we got that. It's the opposite of positive 3y, which is a negative 3y. And it's the opposite of positive 2x, which is a negative 2x. Okay, now we got this big old mess, and we just need to combine terms that are the same. So I'm going to start with, we'll start with 4x, and anything else that's an x. Yes, that's a negative 2x. Anything else? Okay, that's about it. So this is equal so far to 4x minus 2x is 2x. Right. Now what else do we have? Let's talk about y's. Right. So we have a positive 3y. Oh, and look here, we have a negative 3y. Right. So we have a positive 3y and negative 3y. That's actually a zero pair. That actually just becomes 0, and you don't have to write anything down. Right. And then lastly, we have numbers. So we have positive 7 and negative 1. So basically 7 minus 1, and that makes a positive 6. And you see how I circled everything? That means that I'm done. And this right here is my answer. Okay, next one. Let's rewrite everything except for that parentheses, because we do have a negative in the parentheses. So that means everything in the parentheses is going to become opposite. So I'm going to use black this time. So we have 16x squared. I'm just going to copy it from the beginning. Minus 4x plus 5. Okay, and I have a plus 1 in the back. Okay, but that parentheses, so it's the opposite of 16x squared, which is a negative 16x squared. Oops, I need more space, so I'm going to move that plus 1 back a little bit more. Then I'm going to go and do the opposite of negative 8x, which is a positive 8x. And that's what that negative parenthesis does, is it changes everything inside the parentheses to be opposite. All right, I'm going to use green. I'm going to go ahead and just combine like terms. So I'm going to circle, and it doesn't matter the order you do it, but I like to start with the biggest exponent. So we have 16x squared and negative 16x squared. Those are 0 pairs, which means that they will cancel each other out. So that's actually gone. Right, so far, got nothing. What else do we have? Let's go with x. So we have negative 4x and we have positive 8x. So negative 4x and positive 8x is going to make positive 4x. And then lastly, we have positive 5 and positive 1. Right? And you see how I've basically boxed or circled everything? So positive 5, positive 1 makes positive 6. That's my final expression. Back to blue. Okay, so you see how there's two parentheses and one of them has a negative, right? Or there's a negative in between, which means that the second parentheses is going to change. So I'm going to go ahead and just copy everything down as is. 32x minus 7y. So that doesn't change because in front of it, you see how there's nothing in front? Well, actually, there's a positive, which means it doesn't change any of it. But in the back, the second parentheses has a minus parentheses, which means everything in there is going to be opposite. So instead of 28x, it's going to be negative 28x. And instead of negative 11y, it's going to be positive 11y. Okay, from here, you're going to go ahead and combine terms that are similar or are like. So we have 3x's and negative 28x, which together is going to make negative 25x. And then lastly, we have negative 7y and positive 11y. Okay, and that's going to give me positive 4. Use a calculator, negative 7 plus 11, or 11 minus 7, either way, of positive 4y. That's your finale. Okay, last one. This one doesn't have any parentheses, so we can just work it as is. So I'm going to go ahead and start off with just finding out all the like terms. So I usually like to start with x's or y's. So I'll start with, let's go y. So we have a 1y. Notice I'm not circling the plus. The plus belongs with a 2. So I have a y, or let me count. 1y, another, so a positive 2y, so 2y, which is 3y now. So 1y and 2y is 3y. Another 2y, so that's 4, 5y. And another one more y is 6y. So my final answer is going to be 6y to start. And then I have my x right here, just a negative 2x. So it's just going to be negative 2x because there's nothing else that's going to combine. And I finally just have my just plain old numbers, so positive 2 and then another positive 2. You see how I circle everything? Positive 2 and positive 2 makes positive 4. Okay, and that is your final answer. Okay, let's look at the back side. Oof, number 66. On graph paper, draw figure 4 and 5. Okay. Oh, that is the last one. So I'll do it down here. Okay. So figure 4 and figure 5. And figure 5. Okay, now I need to figure out what's going on. All right. So figure 1, looks like it has 4 blocks. And figure 2, it looks, so the same 4 blocks is right here. Right. So it's the same 4 blocks, except I've added just kind of like a layering on the outside. And the figure 3 has the same as figure 2, except it now has a layering on the outside, okay, or like an L shape. So I think I got that. So figure 4 is going to look like figure 3. So figure 4 is going to look like figure 3, which is a 4 by 4. Figure 2 is a 3 by 3. Figure 1 is a 2 by 2. So figure 4, figure 4 is going to look like figure 3, but I can just say figure 4 is going to be a 5 by 5. It's actually one more number bigger. Right? For example, figure 3 has 4 and 4. Right? Figure 3 has 4 and 4. So it has one more than that figure number. Figure 2 has 3 by 3. So it has one more than that. Okay, so if I'm doing this correctly, figure 4 is going to have one more. So figure 4 is going to be a 5 by 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it's going to be by 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So figure 5 is going to have, if it's a 5 by 5, 5 times 5, that's going to be 25 blocks. You see how I'm taking my time? No rush. Okay, so figure 5, what do you think? It's going to have one more, so it's going to be a 6 by 6. And just by thinking about this, this allows us to think about what the next figure is going to be. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So figure 5 is going to be a 6 by 6. Again, take your time. No rush. Oh, see, I rushed it a little bit right there. When some of those blocks got kind of fat. Okay. Okay. So got that? What would figure 10 look like? How many tiles would it have on each side? What about figure 100? Oof. All right, well, figure 10, what would it look like? Figure 10 would be, so if I was going to do this, and I'm just going to kind of, you know, eyeball it, or just going to generalize it, but figure 10, okay, it's going to have a side that's 11 by 11, because remember we talked about it, it has one more number than the figure number. So figure 10 is going to be an 11 by 11 square, which total is going to be 11 times 11 is 121. Okay, so you can explain that. What would figure 10 look like? Figure 10 would be an 11 by 11 square with how many tiles would it have on each side? It would have 11 tiles, right? And total, we would have 121 tiles. Okay, figure 100. So basically, figure 100. So if I went and did figure 100, okay, it wouldn't be 11 anymore. And figure 100 would have 101 on each side. Remember, it's one more than the figure number. So it'd be 101 and by 101. So there'd be very a lot of tiles. And then to figure out the answer, how many tiles would it have? Okay, or yeah, so how many tiles would it have on each side? So I figure 100 would be 101 tiles on each side, and in total in tiles in all would be 101 by 101, which is 10,201 tiles. So total will be 10,201 tiles in there if I was to do the all the tiles. Cami has a different pattern. She decided to represent the number of tiles in her pattern in a table as shown below. Can you use the table to predict how many tiles will be in figure 5 of her tile pattern and how many tiles would figure 8 have? Explain how you know. Right? So if you need, figure 4 and 5 is right here. Figure 10, I kind of just estimated that. Not estimated, kind of demonstrated that. And figure 100, I demonstrated that. Okay, I didn't actually draw the tiles. So I'm going to erase that to make room for more. All right, so here's your table. Now you're gonna have to kind of spend a little bit of time. Let's see. So the figure number goes for 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I'm assuming the next one's gonna be 5, 6, 7, and 8 is what we're after. And maybe we don't need to go all the way to 8. Maybe we can find a pattern. All right, so let's look at what's happening. So 5 to 9. So I'm just gonna go ahead and say the most obvious. It looks like I'm gonna add 4. All right, so from 9 to 13, did I add 4? Okay, I did. And from 13 to 17, did I add 4? Okay. So that means that we have established a pattern of plus 4. And because they're asking about figure 5 is really easy because it's the next one, which all you have to do is add 4. So 17 plus 4. So 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Use your fingers to count if you have to. So figure 5 will have 21 tiles. So you can write that down. Okay, can you use the table to predict how many tiles will be in figure 5? So you can write down figure 5 would have, I'm not going to write it because I'm going to speak it. You can write it down. Figure 5 would have 21 tiles. And how many tiles will be in figure 8? Right? Well, I mean, figure 8 is not too far from figure 5, so I'm just going to keep adding, adding 4. I don't need to find a fancy function or fancy equation. So figure 6, I'm going to add 4 more. 21 plus 4 is 25. Figure 7, I'm going to add 4 more. So 25 plus 4 is 29. And then figure 8, finally, we're there. Going to add 4 more. So 9 plus 4 is 33. Okay. So how many tile would figure 8 have? Okay. Figure 8 would have, and how do you know? Well, you continue that pattern, and you added 4 each time. So that's how you explain it. So you would say the pattern continues by 4. So you just keep adding on top of the previous number. Okay? So I know I didn't write all of it down, but I'm hoping that you can rewind if you need to and make